now we begin a series of questions. We'll begin with Mike Osted from St. Tammany Parish.
Dardenne, if a study reflected that the state Secretary of State and Lieutenant Governor positions could be brought in under the management of the Governor's office, like most departments in state government, save the taxpayers money and streamline the functions of the office, would you support it? Why or why not?
Yes, I would if a study would reveal that, but frankly, I don't think it would. I've held both the positions of Lieutenant Governor and Secretary of State, and I don't believe you would save any money by consolidating those functions because there's so many responsibilities that are under those two department heads. And plus, they have to answer to the people. This is the most powerful governor in the United States of America that we have in Louisiana. If you look at history and look at the way our Constitution is structured, and when you have independently elected Secretaries of State and Lieutenant Governors, as we do in Louisiana, I think it bodes well for the people to be able to have someone that they can look to be responsible for their respective responsibilities. The Secretary of State, a position I held for 4 years, has to be completely independent of politics. And by law, a law that I authored, by the way, can't be involved in political campaigns, and that's a good thing because you want that independence. You wouldn't have it if it was under the governor's office. Lieutenant Governor functions basically as a cabinet-level position, running the Department of Culture, Recreation, and Tourism, and in this case, I'm the person who's actually doing that.
Thank you.
Yes. I believe if you're just going to do tourism, you can do so much more as a statewide elected official, and that's why I asked the governor to allow me to do these other things. And if it was just tourism, absolutely. But we need cheerleaders for this state in creating jobs, coastal restoration, and everything else. And you can do so much more if you get up every day doing everything physically possible to help the state. In Plaquemines Parish, we took and went to every major company and asked them to use Louisiana companies. In just 4 years, over 700 companies do business in Plaquemines Parish, Louisiana companies. We need to do that statewide. The governor, the Secretary of State, the treasurer needs a team effort working as a team. We've always seen the governor take power away from the lieutenant governor, in my opinion, for fear of that person running against him. And that's left the money there, but no authority to do things other than tourism. We need to work as a team to put that back together and do more with less. Man, it's tough.
Okay.
Mr. Dardenne, do you favor the expansion of gambling in Louisiana as a means of economic development and tax revenue? And if so, would you work to get that passed by the legislature?
No, I do not favor that. I was one of the staunchest opponents of gambling when I was in the legislature, believing long-term it was not going to be in the best interest of the people of Louisiana, and we have not experienced long-term yet. I'm talking about multiple years and multiple decades. So I don't favor an expansion of gambling. I do recognize that it is here, and I think it is probably here to stay. It's something that the people apparently seem to want. It's created a tremendous number of jobs, particularly in the Lake Charles and Shreveport areas, where you see people coming in from Texas and from other states to gamble, and so it's a major part of the economies, particularly of those two areas. But in terms of expansion, no, I sponsored legislation that required a vote of the public before there could be any expansion. Whenever you see local option votes, that's because of legislation that I authored, because I felt it was important that if there was going to be any further expansion of gambling, it had to take place only with the consent of the people.
Thank you. Mr. Nungesser.
Yes, I don't...
No, not that question. A number of our parks and museums are experiencing budget cutbacks that reduce staffing, attractions, and hours of operation. What effect do you believe this has on efforts to expand tourism in our state, and what, if any, changes should be made?
I think it has a crippling effect. I think what we need to do is, first off, analyze the whole budget, as we did, not letting politicians make the decision. Bring the people from the tourism industry, from the parks and recreational, put a team effort together, throw the budget out on the table, much like I did in Plaquemines Parish, and let's come up with some sensible solutions. But also, failure is not an option in maintaining those parks and museums. In Plaquemines Parish, we had a shortfall of the money needed to rebuild our community centers. So we went to foundation money as far away as California, raised $2 million for those centers. over $1 million for other parks and recreational facilities from private donations to make sure Plaquemines Parish could build back better than it was. When you have elected officials that truly care, when failure is not an option, whatever it takes, we've got to restore that. And if it's private foundation money, if it's spending money wiser, then we need to do it. But we need to have that team effort to make those decisions, not by politicians.